KWT slaying.
Salama family, Salama, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. So there are some interesting things going on in the world, behind the scenes, discussions going on that portend major issues. And so we're going to look at some of that. I guess we're going to find out real soon whether or not there's a second Exodus. We're going to find out real soon whether or not the 400-year prophecy is legit. In my opinion, we're about to find out soon. So let's get started. Because some of these videos are a little long. I don't want to show all of it, but some of it sort of have to show it. So let's look at a scripture right quick. Baruch 4:31-33. Misery will come to those who mistreated you, and then rejoice when you fail. Misery will come to those cities that made your children slaves. Misery will be the fate of Babylon, that city which swallowed up your children. Just as that city rejoiced when you fell and took delight in your ruin, so now she will mourn when she herself is deserted. Try to tell you. I think a lot of Gentiles are starting to wake up, but they still don't know who we are. But Babylon is obviously under judgment, and the ones who don't realize it, you have to ask, what's their walk with the Most High? Because if you can't see it, makes me wonder about your walk. But that's between you and the Most High. And before we get to what the Gentiles are talking about, I want to look at what some of our people are saying, because we sort of talked about they're going to push you out. If you saw the video called They Will Push You Out, give me a 1. If you haven't, give me a 2. Because the way these end times are playing out is very dangerous, and it's dangerous for other reasons, right? It's dangerous for what we call the grid down event. It's dangerous because if the grid goes down, if the electricity goes away and the water goes away, then guess what? People who are on medicine, right, won't get access to it. And some of that medicine is life-saving medicines. And you know, the Most High said that he will heal us, right? He will save us. He says, those who endure until the end, the same shall be saved. I don't see how anybody could look at all of this information and all of this news and all of the prophecies and not realize that we're in dangerous times. I mean, how do you think, you know, you're gonna, and look, you do what you do. I'm just making a comment. But how you think you're gonna go buy that nice big house and get a new mortgage and the nice big car, and you know, you can't see the signs of the times. You can't see that, you know, hey, you might not even have gas for your car, and you know, you might not be able to keep that house because when the dollar's devalued and you can't pay the cost on that mortgage, you're going to get kicked out on the street. And you already see a lot of people getting kicked out on the street. But all of this is obviously by design. I told you before, I said it looks scripted. This appears to be scripted. And I still believe that a lot of this end time scenario is scripted, but it's scripted to the point of overthrowing Babylon, right? There's people in power that hate Babylon. I mean, hey, why not? I mean, she's evil, right? She's gone to many countries and bombed them and stole their resources and did all these things, right? So let's listen to what Brother Umar said. It's a little short. Pretty much the same thing I told you. They're going to push you out.
The migrant crisis is similar to my take on Barack Obama's presidency. Barack Obama's presidency did not signal the end to white supremacy in America. It signaled a reinvention to white supremacy in America. If you are a politically astute Caucasian, you know that. You are not threatened by Barack Obama being president because you knew he was nothing but a puppet for the white power structure. But if you were a politically uneducated Caucasian, you might think Barack Obama being in the White House is a taking over of federal power by Black America. The same thing with the migrants. The migrants are being allowed into the country, and for two important reasons, and there's several, but there's two very important ones. Voting is one, and attached to that voting is the replacement of Black America at the ballot box. Joe Biden knew he wasn't going to do anything for Black people. And if you go back to his original campaign when he was elected the first term, he said he wanted to fast track to American citizenship 4 to 8 million undocumented immigrants. Why is he making this promise before he even gets into the White House? Because he knew he was going to do nothing for Black people. So if I'm not going to do anything for Black people, they're not going to vote for me. How does the Democratic Party make up for the dwindling Black vote? We're going to bring the immigrants in, turn them into citizens, give them the right to vote. Thereby, we reduce our dependency on the Black vote on election day. I saw this coming. I spoke on it. Black America didn't believe me, and now they're living it. So the immigrants are being allowed to come in to replace us literally, metaphorically, physically, and every other way. You look at what they're doing in New York City. You look at what they're doing in Chicago. I'm always in New York. I just came from Chicago. They are literally giving these migrants Black people's resources, from food stamps to housing to jobs to clothing, you name it. Taxpayers are not getting what they pay for, but folks who never paid tax a day in their life, nor whose ancestors built this country, are being completely ignored. It's the takeover. And the reason they're choosing New York and Chicago as the most aggressive migrant replacement efforts is because those are the two strongest Black political cities that we have. If you take New York, you take Chicago, you take Black America, the rest of us are easy. But as I travel America, guess what? There's migrant camps in nearly every Black community I'm coming across. I was in Kansas City. They got a migrant camp. Philadelphia has a burgeoning one. I just came from Antioch. They have one. Sacramento, they have one. They're popping up all over the place where Black people are, because they're going to be the new minorities once America gets rid of us. The second reason they're letting the migrants in is to keep big businesses in America.
Cheap labor.
Absolutely. Cheap labor. Cheap labor. Because what the corporations is telling the government, if I have to stay here, I got to pay for all kinds of labor insurance. You know, if somebody gets pregnant, they get off. If they have a mental health problem, they get off. I got to pay them. It costs me too much to operate a business in America. If you want me to stay, you better bring some of them brown people from across that border and let me pay them pennies on a dollar under the table. And the reason they love the brown people instead of the Black people is because we are an obligation to America. We built it. We built it. So we're an obligation. We're the nuisance that they don't want. But when brown people show up, their ancestors didn't build this country. They come into a place better than the place that they're leaving. They will keep their mouth shut. They will not agitate. They will never become a political problem because they feel it is a blessing just to be here.
Brother, they're literally spending millions of dollars to house these people.
Yes.
And like millions. And why do they feel like that's the best use of the resources?
Because we fail to recognize that capitalism isn't the white man's priority in America. It is racism and white supremacy. There is no amount of money America will not pay to rid itself of the unwanted Negro. People say, look at all the money they spend to keep us in prison. They can spend a third of that and improve the schools. You don't get it. This is not a money game. This is an extermination game. Whatever they must do to get rid of black people, they will do it. You know what the American dream is? The American dream is not a big house and a big car and a big bank account. The American dream is to wake up and walk outside and not see a single black person anywhere in sight. That's the American dream. My take on the migrant crisis.
So let me sum it up for you. They're going to push you out. When I was getting all the heat about we're going to flee, we're going to have to flee, we got other people now saying he don't consider himself an Israelite, but they're going to push you out. You see, as I stated before, all you have to do is wait. Just wait long enough. You'll see who's right, who's wrong. Somebody going to teach this. Somebody going to teach that. Yes, there's a second Exodus. No, there's not a second Exodus. Just wait long enough. You'll see. And guess who the target is? Once again, it's the Negro, right? Chicago, huge black population. New York, huge black population. And they're putting the migrants in the black neighborhoods. Let me ask you a question. If they're putting migrants in the black neighborhoods, are they coming there to replace Caucasians? Are they coming in there to replace the Asians? Or are they coming in there to replace the quote unquote black people? I'm just saying, hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy, hashtag they gonna push you out. I told you it's gonna get uncomfortable in here. So when you see critical race theory, diversity, equity, and inclusion, Black Lives Matter, wokeism, and these are the talking points of the Gentiles, it's all about who again? You. But here's the thing. Without us, see, this is what they don't understand. When we're gone, it's over for y'all. When we're gone, this place is going to burn. Oh, I know you don't believe it. I've been telling y'all for a long time, but
told y'all that when Judah begins to cry to the Most High, that's the only thing saving this nation right now. Do y'all know why this nation ain't destroyed yet? The people are still here. I told y'all.
So Pastor Darby said he told y'all. He's not the only one that told y'all. See, while we're here, y'all lucky, Gentiles. When we gone, y'all in trouble. Ain't gotta hate. I told y'all what time it is, and there's a bunch of Gentiles that realize what's happening. Let me share this video. Let's see. Forgot to load it up. Let's do it this way. Steadfast Defender. So Steadfast Defender is about to occur. Steadfast Defender 2024 will be a clear demonstration of our unity, strength, and determination to protect each other, our values, and the rules-based international order. Steadfast Defender 2024 is NATO's largest exercise in decades, designed to strengthen the alliance's deterrence and defense capabilities, focusing on the transatlantic reinforcement, interoperability, and deployment and sustainment of forces across Europe. It involves a total of 15 national tactical exercises conducted from January to May 24th. Interesting time frame, don't you think? As NATO prepares for its 75th anniversary in April, Steadfast Defender 2024 demonstrates how the principle of collective defense continues to remain as the alliance's first purpose, binding its members together and committing them to protect each other. NATO's Joint Warfare Center has an important mission during Steadfast Defender 2024. Under the lead of Supreme Headquarters Allied Powers Europe, the center delivers the overarching scenario and strategic documentation for the exercise, optimized for the requirements of the deterrence and defense of the Euro-Atlantic area concept, which provides NATO's framework for stronger deterrence and defense in a multi-domain environment. So this is an exercise that has already started. It goes till May 2024. And apparently in April, right, it demonstrates it's their anniversary in April, 75th anniversary. Now, so why does that matter? I mean, hey, just another exercise, right? But there's a lot of things going on in terms of the migrant crisis, in terms of cybersecurity, in terms of what you call being preppers. So a lot of people make it like, all things remain the same. I mean, that's the way they live. They carry themselves like they were 10 years ago. Go to work, go to school, right? Go to the clubs, right? Live which way you want. Even though a lot of people have been deleted over the last 3 years, they don't care about what's really happening in the world until they're caught unaware. So that's why the Bible says the wicked will not understand, but the wise will understand. If you don't understand what's happening behind the scenes, right? Because it's not in national media. You're not going to hear it on CNN. You're not going to hear it on MSNBC. Unless you're paying attention, you won't know. And if anybody's telling you otherwise, oh, don't worry about it, right? Remember I told y'all what happened with Josephus, right? With the false prophets. Don't worry about it. God not going to judge this place because the temple's here. Just go up on the mount. And they all got taken out. Because some people are agents. Some people are false prophets. And some of y'all can't tell the difference.
Can't protest?
Yeah,
You can't.
that means you can't. That's cancel culture 101. That means you can't post, you can't say anything, you can't do anything. It's total control mechanism.
Hey, get this. It'd also be unlawful for you to interfere with or intimidate another person in that person's exercise of any right under the Constitution of the United States. But the United States will be able to interfere with and intimidate any person in their exercise of their rights under the Constitution.
Yeah, here's my take on that. I think that's what's the word? It's that legislation is not going to have any power because I absolutely am convinced. I could be wrong, so that's fine. I can be wrong, but I'm convinced that won't even get passed because of what's coming next. I truly believe, am utterly have such a high index of suspicion that a kinetic invasion of the U.S. mainland is going to occur within the next 2 years.
I
believe that civil war is going to be fomented, just like
Yep.
the visions of Dmitry Duduman or Henry Gruver. I've had my own dreams and visions, right? Lots and lots of people have seen the same thing. I
Yep.
believe that we are going to see a hardcore, violent civil war erupt in the United States, and it won't be between North and South. It won't be states' rights versus federal government. It won't be based on slavery. It'll be wickedness versus moralism. It will be liberalism, Marxism, or Luciferianism versus moralism. That will be the clash. For ease of conversation, we can say conservatives versus liberals. That will be the impetus of the background of the Civil War, and which is intentional. It's intentionally being fomented. Obama had one singular role, and he played it masterfully. He gets an A+. He carried out with devotion to duty everything that he was supposed to do to divide and conquer this country and to sow the deep-seated roots of discord and hatred and distrust that we are now finally seeing ferment unto the poisonous fruit that it's producing. And I believe that is what they're trying to get to for the kinetic invasion of the continental United States by majority Chinese troops with a contingent of Russian troops and then fifth column forces, whether it's Hamas, Hezbollah, the cartels, which is China as well too, right? All these different proxy actors which have been coming across the border. We know that they have crew-served weapons that are staged and direct fire weapons. Doug, you know how nasty it is to try to come up against somebody with indirect fire weapon. An indirect fire weapon system changes the sphere of your battle space because there's no such thing as cover anymore, right? Like it's you have eliminated the ability to take cover and to be able to repel forces with overwhelming and superior firepower when the time comes, when indirect fire and cruiser weapons start getting employed. And so this is all in the country. This is all being staged. This is all happening in real time. So now you throw into that component, which this isn't Jamie and Doug saying it. This is, you can go read all their white papers, all the reports, all their simulations, all their exercises, that they are going to take down the power grid and then bring it back online selectively. That word selectively is what is going to cause the greatest bloodshed in American history, is that the power grid will be brought on selectively. And now you're going to get this huge, violent, vile clash of peoples to where we self-eradicate as much as possible before the Chinese come in and take what they're owed as collateral. When their economy is collapsing, they're coming to collect. That's our mineral rights. That's our farmland. That's our oil reserves, our natural gas systems. That's our fracking systems. That's our deep water ports. That's our manufacturing base, what's left of our manufacturing base. But most importantly, it's our fertile soil. They must have the American heartland. They have to have the soil, because what most people don't understand about China is China is on the verge of collapse. All the communistic power structure that has been built up for the last 150 years-ish is about ready to crumble because they can't feed their people. Their currency is insolvent. Their economy is insolvent. I don't care what the other, pundits out there are telling you. There's populist uprisings all over the place. They can't kill enough people quickly enough. They can't have enough intelligence apparatus, biometric, social credit score system in place to control the people, because they're hungry and they're disenchanted with communism. And they know that if they don't get them fed ASAP, and if they don't alleviate some of their population constraints by I don't know what the right word is, by doing a population displacement in the U.S. They say they have 300 million Chinese who have been pre-selected by lottery to come into the United States over the course of 9 months to replace the Anglo population, by and large, right? And obviously we're a melting pot, but we'll say Americans, right? To replace Americans over the course of 9 months. This is all going according to plan. So this, again, we'll bring it full circle. What's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in Europe, what's going on in Asia, Southeast Asia, what's going on with in the stands, and then what's going on in the Koreas, and what's going on in Central and South America, what's going on at every strait and every canal and every shipping lane on the face of the earth, what's going on with the supply chains and supply chain disruptions, which is not a disruption, it's consolidation, is all because of the restructuring that's coming. And it will be, mark my words, preceded by a major, major life-altering traumatic cyber attack that's going to affect the whole globe.
You know, one of the other things that they're going to come after is our women, our children.
That's what they've said about the Chinese troops, is the women. Yeah.
Yep. Comfort women. Remember that word? Yeah, that means rape toys. You look into that horrible, gross term. We talk about the human trafficking, the sex trafficking. It's going to be in your face. They will bring back slavery. They'll bring back reprisal killings.
So one of the things that he mentioned, and this guy, Jamie, he's a pastor, but he's also former military. And whether or not you agree with what he's saying, I mean, a lot of people are saying this, and we're gonna see a clip from another video he's in. I mean, it's really a lot of stuff, and I think that if you want to, for the video that I'm going to show, if you want to watch the full thing, you can go to tillministries.com and watch the full interview. But he talks about, the cyber event. And I think a lot of people think it's just the water going off and electricity going off. No, it's people with medicines who can't take medicine anymore, right? Life-saving medicines. It's people who need to have surgery. It's people, all kind of stuff. It's going to cause chaos. Now, if you notice, the host for American Vindica, he mentioned slavery coming back. Oops, it wasn't. It wasn't Jacobo who just said that. It was the host of American Vindica. Now, remember, we told the Gentiles, you don't have much time left. We told y'all that. You don't have to listen. I told you it's too late. I told you that. I told you that you all going into captivity. That's what the Bible teaches. Right. So the question is, how could we have gotten it right? Right. Even before it all happened, we were teaching this since 2016, that all of this was going to happen. How did we know? I told you, I'm not a prophet. I just read the scriptures. I'll tell you what I see in the word. And so a lot of Gentiles, they have the idea of the rapture. So those people are waiting to get caught out. Then you got the other Gentiles who are preppers. They're looking to, dig in. But what's going to happen to y'all is what happened to us. You can see the curses are already on you, right? A lot of Gentiles can't afford their rent. They can't afford food. They can't pay their daily bills. That's black folk stuff. Y'all never really had that problem. Maybe a few of y'all, but as a whole, you never really had those issues. And what else do you have? You have somebody else, according to this guy, coming to take your stuff. Isn't that what y'all did to us? Y'all came and took our stuff. So you got people who are talking the same thing. Now, notice they're years behind us. We did it before all of this happened, right? We told you and warned you years before. And people keep telling y'all, we don't know what we're talking about. Ain't no 400-year prophecy, no second Exodus. But it just so happens that we seem to have been right on target. I'm just saying. See, if you're new to this ministry, you don't know. You don't really know that we have been accurate. Let's take a vote right now. Family, do you think Till Ministries has been accurate since 2016? Give me a 1. If not, give me a 2. Maybe you got some 2s out there. But most of the ones who follow this ministry know that we've been accurate. And so just like during the time of Josephus, right? And a lot of people were hiding in their homes and, had food stocked up. There was something that they said They say, you know how we know that somebody's in the house? Because the doors are closed and the windows are closed. So they know that you're there. If you're not in the house, right? Somebody then went through and took everything and kicked the doors in and kicked the windows in. The same thing gonna happen here, whether you're a prepper or not prepper. If you're a prepper and you got a bunker and you have some food and you have some electricity and you have some water, guess what? You ain't got to worry about them coming in there and blowing you up. You know what they're going to do? They're going to seal you off, just like they did our ancestors in Jerusalem. They're going to close off your means of escape, and you're not going to be able to get access to food when your food run out. You're not going to be able to get access to water when your water run out. Guess what? You're going to give up. You're going to come with your white flag. You're going to say, Chinese, Russians, take me because I'm hungry. My kid's hungry. I ran out of food and electricity. I can't stay here forever. I told you, I said, look, you're not going to listen because I'm a black man. You're not going to listen, but it's all good.
All right, guys, this is an exciting interview for me because this guy has had a very interesting life, much more interesting than mine. I used to think mine was interesting, but I'm going to call him Pastor Jamie. He also goes by Jamie. Jamie, why don't you tell them about yourself, because you're going to do the best intro better than me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Will. I appreciate you having me on the show and being able to meet with your listeners and stuff like that. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Jamie Walden. Excuse me. I have a background in Marine Corps infantry. I was a sergeant in the Marine Corps infantry, did the college thing, worked for the U.S. Marshals for a little bit. Interning there was going federal law enforcement. They all went on a hiring freeze in the great years of the abomination and desolation era. So I ended up testing for some PDs and jumped on a local PD as a street cop for a short minute. And then switched over to fire EMS, became a paramedic and a firefighter on a tech rescue team, did tactical EMS for a little while before getting into international disaster response on deployable teams and contract work. Went back to Iraq freelance in that intern period of time too. After that, kind of got burned out on the public service reality, wanted to do a little bit more. So we liquidated our reality, and me and my wife and my children moved to the Dominican Republic, where we ended up being missionaries for several years. So we lived down there, and on returning, I wrote a book and published a book, and it did pretty well and ended up getting picked up to be a part of a TV show, like a network TV show, doing expeditions, archaeological, antediluvian, pre-flood stuff, kind of battling the ancient alien narrative out there and that whole crazy stuff. So that was what I've been doing in that intern period. And since then now I kind of do a lot of political, geopolitical, militaristic analysis and current events, and along with a biblical worldview of eschatology on everything. And I currently live outside Durango, Colorado, where I pastor a church and own a family camp, and then do all those other things that are going on all at the same time. So that's
my
down
first
and
question
dirty.
to you is, how old are you?
42, just turned 42.
You've gotten a lot done in 42 years.
I get bored
Let's
easy.
skip a little bit.
No joke.
Trying to strike a blow against that evil wherever I can. So
An interview that I did, I found out that when the illegal aliens, which is politically incorrect, the migrants, when they're coming across, within 2 to 4 months, they're getting social security numbers and driver's license, and they're also getting their lodging covered. In New York, they're in really nice hotels and everything. I have a point of view that this is, I know you can share, if you would, share me some of the points of views of your comrades. I know you're not going to share their names, of course, but especially since they're working it right now. But the amount of child trafficking is being allowed while they're bringing these people in, and they are giving them social security numbers to vote, basically. And we got 64 million illegal immigrants within the country already, plus the 10 million or 8 million that's come in. What's their point of view on the border about what's going on? What does a typical person work in the front line that what is their opinion of what's the current events of what's happening on?
unequivocally, it has nothing to do with immigration. In any way, shape, or form, there is zero amount of immigrating occurring. I can't say zero. There's always going to be a small percentage. People take issue with making that broad of a generalized statement, but very, very few of it is immigration. It is 100% the totality of the evidence coming out from there is that it is a full-on multi-pronged, well-organized, nation-state-backed militaristic invasion with fifth column forces for staging for kinetic actions inside the continental United States and CONUS. There's 10,000 plus Chinese military-age fighting men a day coming across the border and being allowed to come in. Chinese general bought up 200 square miles. A colonel, I believe, bought up active duty, bought 200 square miles of Texas ground right along the Rio Grande and put in a 10,000 foot heavy lift military aircraft landing strip on it. It's untouchable. I've talked to guys, I've had them at my house that are directly across adjacent on the Mexico side of the river of that property. And they run a nonprofit, a medical clinic nonprofit, and they watch the Chinese troops be brought in by our State Department on buses and then wade across the knee deep to waist deep water right onto private property on the Texas side of the river where they're waiting from.
So, this confirms a lot of stuff we were saying beforehand about, the Chinese coming in, a whole bunch of Chinese coming in across the border. And then, not just over there by Mexico, but also in Canada. And so, they're starting to see it. But here's the thing, like I said, right? Based upon the prophecies, we were able to predict that we were in a time of the coming second Exodus. We are in the time of our leaving Babylon. We're in a time of the judgment of those who enslaved us. So as I read in Baruch, right, that those who enslaved us, they're about to get punished, right? So I'm going to come back to this. But, Baruch 4 says, misery will come to those who mistreated you and then rejoice when you fell. Misery will come to those cities that made your children slaves. Misery will be the fate of Babylon, that city which swallowed up your children. Just as that city rejoiced when you fell and took delight in your ruin, so now she will mourn when she herself is deserted. Now, we talked about Jeremiah 50, Jeremiah 51. We talked about Revelation 17 and 18. We talked about all this, and we have all these things that happen that is happening in the world today that looks just like Revelation, right? So if we're in the book of Revelation, and I believe we are, then how can we not be close to our Exodus? Because the Bible says, when these things begin to happen, when they begin to happen, look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draweth nigh. Now, there's a good chance, a lot of people have talked about that sign that's going to happen where, the little X come over America. For me, that could be true. I don't know, but it's coincidental that all of that seems to be coinciding with this year. And also it seems to be coinciding with April, which is around the time of Passover. So I don't know what to make of that, whether or not it's prophetic or not. Some people say it is. But I can look at the signs, right? I can look at the birth pains. I can look at the things that I see with my eyes that are occurring that seems to portend destruction on this nation. And pretty soon, in my opinion. So, as someone said, the Tav and the whole X mark the spot, stuff like that. So we'll see. Like I said, all you got to do is wait. People who tell you there's no second Exodus, hey, you believe it? Go ahead. Live your life. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying half of y'all not going to be prepared for what's coming because you've been deceived, just like some of our ancestors when Jerusalem was getting sacked by the Romans.
We have all kinds of reports of shipping containers full of crew-served weapons and direct fire weapons systems coming through the Long Beach port and being allowed to be brought in and pre-staged. We have armor brigades, high-level reports of armor brigades staged in Vancouver Island up in the Columbia River Gorge. Just 2 weeks ago, I was in Minnesota where I spoke with a guy that talked about the enclaves of Russian troops pre-staged in the North Woods up there. Then they are protected actually by other U.S. assets where they do not allow anybody to go into these particular large swaths of remote forest. And actually the guy I talked to was specifically up there as a high-level electrical engineer, and he was brought in to put in some infrastructure, buildings and barracks and stuff like that for Russian troops, fully outfitted with everything inside the U.S. And so that doesn't include the Hamas Hezbollah contingents. There's been Chinese military training camps and Hamas Hezbollah, or we'll just say Middle Eastern extremist type terroristic fifth column forces training camps within 8 miles of the Texas border. Everybody knows about it. Nobody does anything about it. Venezuela is a staging ground right now for, it has in the past hosted Russian White Swan strategic nuclear bombers and other assets, also major Chinese military troop buildup there. And then we all know Trudeau to the north has made bilateral agreements and even passed legislation through the PM and all the other things going on up there in Canada to allow the Chinese military to come in with whatever brigades and armaments and troops necessary to quote unquote protect their national interest inside China. Now that gets into what went on with Feinstein to Swalwell and all these other guys, all the interconnectivity, MIT, to numerous other Ivy League schools being connected to the CCP. Also, the Clinton State Department selling all of our mineral rights in our national parks. Our mineral right, all the stuff under the ground was given as collateral to the CCP. They're going to come to collect. Manhattan Island itself is physically owned real estate-wise by the CCP and the numerous other amounts of our deep water ports. This gets into why things are doing what they're doing inside the United States of America, including gun legislation, including Obama stopping the last lead smelting plant, and including the most recent congressional bill that was put forward to ban any form of training, any civilians from participating in any training or being involved in any training or be associated with any training of larger than 2 to 3 people. That legislation was already put forward in Congress just like a couple of days ago to basically make it a felony if anybody's caught training with any kind of firearms. And that also gets into the nuances of reducing our strategic reserves, our oil reserves, leaving all the armaments in Afghanistan, and then sending all of our other major anti-armor weapon systems, including.
You know, I thought it was strange too when the Democrats got in power and they left all of that military hardware in Afghanistan. That was the weirdest thing I ever seen in my life, right? It's like, oh, you're leaving that for the enemy to use, huh? You know, so obviously, you know, this is a globalist assault, right? This is a global attack, right? And it's not just America. America is the main target, but basically the whole Western nations that have some sense of, at least on paper, a sense of freedoms. But, you know, as we know, for the Negro, for the true Hebrew Israelites, there was never any Constitution that protected us. There were no laws that protected us. There's no police that protect us. Only the Most High protects us. But now things are changing, and it's by design, right? It's by design. America has been sold out. Babylon has been sold out, and they're going to lose their freedoms, just like they say. They're saying it themselves. Now, this video is long. There's 2 parts. I'm not gonna go much further. I'm gonna play a little more of this because I have another video that I want to show, and the video that I'm gonna show it is more. It shows you how close we are to things really kicking off, and I don't think we got 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years, right? I mean, if we make it out this year, I'll be shocked, right? I mean, that's how bad it is. I ain't putting no time on nothing. I'm not putting any dates. I'm just saying, based upon what I see and what I'm hearing, this seems to be the target date. Now, remember, the Deagle report says, how many people are going to be left in America by 2025? Well, 2025 is just, a few months away, 11 months away, right? So if the Deagle report is correct, and, it seems to be on target, because after what happened over the last 3 years, we could see a lot of the Deagle report coming to pass. And by 2025, which was the deadline, we're on target for that, right? And we also talked about the Agenda 2030 and stuff like that. So I'll play a little bit more of this, and then we're gonna look at something else.
Living in Javelin weapon systems and our, self-propelled artillery pieces and the kind of these higher end anti-armor based, conventional warfare based equipment, and shipping it all over to Ukraine and completely drawing down all of our things. That also gets into the whole basis, also gets into different aspects of asymmetric warfare, we'll say, including things that we all know that we experienced for the last 3 years. So things that occurred over the last 3 years, there's been numerous hot mic incidents with what would be the Chinese equivalent of the Department of Defense, braggadociously speaking about the reality of what they were able to accomplish, embedded with our U.S. unelected officials to accomplish what they accomplished, to the complete eroding of the U.S. infrastructure, strategic command, and the military. Now add to that the reality of the most recent thing with the Chinese spy balloon, right? And being picked up 10 days prior, and yet stand-down orders being given to all of our military to allow it to do its signals intelligence gathering over our strategic terrestrial-based aspect of our nuclear triad in Montana and North Dakota. It was not allowed to be shot down till the data was done being collected and then uploaded. And then for optics, it was shot down over the ocean where nobody could magically recover any aspects of it,
I knew it.
Yeah.
So we know all about that. And like I said, I mean, you'd have to be pretty dense not to realize that America has been sold out. And, of course, the whole issue is that, and I know you Gentiles ain't going to believe it, but the whole issue is because the Israelites have awakened. And I told you that way back in 2016. And so since the Israelites have awakened, they have to make their move for their world government. They have to make their move for deleting people, for dealing with the whole carbon emission issue, right? They have to deal with all of that, right? And carbon has to do with humans. Don't think it has to do with your car or animals passing gas, right? So let's look at this particular video, and we're gonna see that the warning has gone out, and you'll see.
Okay, we're going to shut the doors. We'll start it out with, my name is Rick Jones. I'm the Butler County Sheriff, Butler County, Ohio. I just came back from a national sheriff's training in DC 2 days ago. We were briefed by the FBI director, Ray, the director of the FBI, and several federal agencies. There's 3,300 sheriffs in the United States. The President of the United States refuses to meet with the sheriffs of the 3,300. We have a hierarchy. We have a president. We have a vice president. President of the United States refuses to meet with the sheriffs. He also refuses to meet with the police chiefs of the United States. They have a hierarchy also. He refuses to meet with them to talk about border issues or talk about crime that's going on because of the border issue. We were also told by Mr. Ray, the FBI director, that there are more red flags going off now than before 9/11. Okay? When I say red flags, meaning people that are here in this country that are wanting to do harm to us. We were also explained we're bombing 2 countries right now. 2 countries. These people do not like us before this started. There's thousands of people here from other countries, 160 different countries. They're here not to be our friends. Some of them are coming because they're wanting to come here to the best country in the world, the way we see it. Some are coming here to do harm to us. And we were told by the FBI director, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We were also told 5 sheriffs went to his.
I just got to make a comment. It's real interesting how, he talk about all these people coming to do them harm, but I'm like, okay, well, didn't y'all go over there first? Didn't you build bases in their hometown? Didn't you steal their oil wells? Didn't you kill their mommies and daddies and babies and mamas and uncles and nannies? And I'm just saying, it ain't like you innocent.
Israel, 5 weeks after the attack, the only thing that saved the Israelis, the government, was the local police. They were outgunned, outmanned. They came over. The Palestinians did. They came over. They killed, raped. The sheriffs were there. They talked to the police. The local police are what saved that country. You can't just call, even in Israel, you can't just call the military up and they're going to be there, okay? They went house to house, raping, killing. The Israeli police, when our guys got there, the sheriffs, said they just don't hate us. They hate you guys equally. And the same people that train them are the same people that train people to hate us. The FBI director said when 9/11 hit, there's more red flags now than then. So, and he said, these are people that want to kill us and do harm to us. Now, so you're wondering, I want everybody to know what I know. I can't tell you everything, but I want the public to know that we are in a terrible way right now. The United States, and I'm going to get to the local, the United States, we're on the defense. You can't be just defense and not have an offense. We have no offense. We're just defense. We're absorbing these attacks. We're in other countries. We're supplying them with weapons. We're supplying them with our treasure, our money, and we're not doing much back home. So with that in mind, we were also told that this is from the federal government 3 days ago, they're going to attack our elections, which they've always done that, just not the national. They're going to go into the locals. They encouraged us to talk to our local election officials and be prepared as much as they can for cyber attacks.
So they're going to attack, according to him, the local elections and not the national. I'm like, okay, well, how do you know that? Somebody wrote the plan down for you. Hey, we're going to attack the local, but not the national. Really? I'm just saying, anyway.
Even locally, you have to be prepared. We've been told that, again, they're coming here to do harm to us. And even in Ohio or in the United States, we're not going to be able to call and ask for help from the federal government. They're going to be busy. The military's not coming, the National Guard. When 9/11 hit, it was all the police and the fire. And they were in total organized chaos. The military had the skies. And I don't want, somebody asked me, am I like Doomsday Jones? And I said, no, I'm not like Chicken Little. I want you to know what I know. And if you don't believe what I'm telling you, that's okay. You can do what the Israeli citizens done. You can build a little safe house in your basement, and good luck. Now, getting to where we've been attacked here in Butler County, you're going to think, well, we've never been attacked. We have. The Russians attacked our system, our electronic system, our computer system. They hacked it. They also are trying to hack, just not ours. And we were down for 2 months, just a paper, hacked our dispatching, hacked everything. Now, was that to help us? No, it wasn't to help us. It was to hurt us and cause chaos. As we speak today, the Russians are still attacking our computer system, just like they're attacking most of yours. But I want the public to know this. The Chinese tried to attack our cyber system here in Butler County, which includes everything that we have, dispatching for police and fire 5 times a day. I want to repeat that. 5 times a day.
So my question is, how do we know it's the Russians? How do we know it's the Chinese attacking us? How do we know it's not the what we call deep state? I'm just saying, it just seems to me it's just another script being played, and the takeover of more power and the deleting of more people. And look, it's interesting to me how a lot of people, just not here anymore. Right. And people don't correlate that with what happened over the last 3 years. And I'm like, how do you not figure this out? Right. And we are at war. The world is at war. It is a satanic battle going on. But once again, as I told the Gentiles, but they're not going to listen, because the Bible says we would have healed Babylon, but they're not healed. Y'all got to let us go. Y'all got to give us reparations. Y'all got to send us back home to the land. That's in the Bible. The Bible that you say that you believe. The Bible that you say that you believe. So, I mean, maybe y'all don't believe it. Maybe it's just lip service.
The Iranians are attacking our computer system and trying to hack it 3 times a day. I want to repeat that. 3 times a day. Now, are they doing that to help us and be our friends? No, they're not. They're trying to disrupt everything that we do. And this next election coming up, they're trying to do the same. So what we're doing here is we've got rifles in every police vehicle we have. We have what we call a go bag. We have extra magazines. And we're going to start training civilians. We've offered classes to train civilians. And we're going to start training civilians on what to do when disasters hit and emergencies hit. Naturally, we can't train the whole country. We can't train the whole county. We put this up online yesterday. It's full already. We can do like 30 people at a time. We're trying to get it. And the organization that is doing that is Texas A&M. They're coming here. The federal government's paying for it. They're going to train 30 civilians on what to do when disasters hit. 30 out of 400,000 people is not much. So we're trying to get more classes. Don't want to cause fear, don't want to cause panic, but I want the public to be aware that you are under attack. And when they're attacking, they're trying to get our cyber system. We have a grid system. Butler County does, the whole United States. Hell, our grid system goes out when it gets hot. So, and our grid system is from the 1960s. And they're trying to attack our phone system. The Chinese are flying over with their little balloons. That's not to help us and help us do some weather direction. And
so to me, doesn't this sound like a talking point given to him by, a higher level agency? Right. And it seems like it's to get us prepared to be a part of the scenario and to be scared. Oh, the Russians are here. Oh, the Chinese are here. Oh, we're invaded. The grid's down, right? So as the grid goes down, they're going to have, places set up and checkpoints. You're not going to be able to leave your area again. You're not going to be able to leave your home. You're going to have to go to your friendly neighborhoods, school or whatever, to get your FEMA, water supply and your FEMA food. And if you're lucky, if you're on meds, maybe you can get your medicines, but there's gonna be issues getting that. It seems to me that now that they have the sheriffs, because all of the sheriffs apparently went to this meeting, because there's a sheriff organization that oversees all of them, that now all of a sudden, we're in a dire situation and we're currently being targeted and our systems are currently going down and they're getting it back up and being attacked. Sounds like what happened during September 11, 2001. Similar scenarios, right? And they're conditioning you to be prepared and conditioning the talking points. These are the talking points, not letting you know that what's happening really is to bring us into the final stage of the New World Order, to bring us in the final stage of world government, to bring us to the final stage where you're willing to give up your rights, right? Bring us to the final stage where you welcome in United Nations troops. I'm just saying it's all here. And based upon the talking points that he have, it's not too far away, right? It sounds to me, at least, I'm not saying it is, but it sounds to me like it's pretty much imminent. Now, what that means, I can't tell you. A month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, I don't know. It just seems somewhat imminent.
And all we're doing is we're on the defense. We're absorbing this. And these other countries that are attacking us overseas, it's a lot of drone attacks. Getting to drones. You know how much technology that local law enforcement has on drones? Zero. We can fly drones, and most police departments and sheriff's offices have drones. We can't detect drones. Hell, they look like a bird in the sky. We can't make the drones stop. We can't stop them. When you see football games on TV, the national football games, they call timeout to stop the drones. Hell, my grandkids have drones. Everybody has drones. We have no technology. The federal government doesn't share any of the drone technology with us. So what we're going to do is we're reaching out to the private industry, and we're going to see if we can get anything that can detect drones.
So, you know, I'm not going to show anymore, but here's the thing. When we look at that information and put it together with what we're seeing with the Steadfast Defender 2024 exercise with NATO, there's something else that's happening as well. You know, he was talking about the cyber events, but here's a Reuters report. 2 Russian strategic bombers flew near Alaska. Russia said on Wednesday that 2 of its Tu-95MC strategic bombers flew over waters near the U.S. state of Alaska, but said they stayed in international airspace. So we have Russia flying over international waters in Alaska near America. Along with that, we have the NATO exercise in Europe, Steadfast Defender 2024. We have the whole migrant crisis. We have all of this stuff. And, you know, now they're crying that there's going to be a cyber event. Now, haven't we been warned over the years that the next major thing is a cyber event? Right? From the whole lollipop situation, right? Because they had an exercise for that before, now to this. So we'll see what happens. It just seems like it's coming. And I guess the good thing is that it's not winter time. We're going into the spring and summer. But, you know, we'll see what happens. A lot of people think that when people say these things and we hear this type of news, that it's all sensationalism. And right, and we have what do they call it? Normalcy bias. We have a normalcy bias because America never has seen war on its shores, really, except for the Civil War, you know. And well, I guess the fight for independence, but America hasn't really had much trouble. And America has always, you know, been insulated from world events. And but America doesn't realize that there's a lot of casualties. You know, there's a lot of casualties from over the last 3 years. Y'all got to read between the lines, which was another way of warfare. And now we're going into the kinetic warfare, and now there's going to be troops on the ground. And you see the Chinese coming over the border, military age Chinese. You see all of these people coming in, and they're getting free room and board and all that stuff. And they're trying to push the Negro out. And guess what? They say by 2053, Negroes ain't going to have no money anyway. Seems like it's all coordinated. Seems like it's all planned. And once again, who's the target? The main target is the Negro, the true Hebrew Israelites. But guess what? It's really the judgment of the Most High on Babylon. And we just so happen to have what looks to be, at least at this point in time, a possible 10-toe confederacy or 10-horn confederacy called BRICS. But ain't no 400-year prophecy. Ain't no second Exodus. It's all made up. Somebody wrote it way back. You know what I'm saying? It's like when they talk about the idea that the mark of the beast, you always had the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast was when we were enslaved. The mark of the beast was when we had collars on our neck. The mark of the beast was when we had to show our papers when we were slaves to go from one point to another. I'm just saying, if you believe that, something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. And if you follow anybody that believes that, something's wrong with you. Because the scriptures are clear. You ain't got to twist it. You ain't got to manipulate it. You don't have to go to the Greek. You don't have to go to the Hebrew. It's clear. And now you have the Gentiles saying the same thing we've been saying since 2016. It just so happened that we just said it ahead of time because we understood the prophecies. What I've been doing lately is crying out to the Most High, talking to the Most High every day, multiple times a day. I'm talking to the Most High. I'm like, Most High, I need out of here. Most High, you got to save your people. Most High, we need healing. Most High, we need deliverance. Most High, we need protection. Most High, we need deliverance. I'm just saying, because He's the only one that could get us out. We're not getting out of this by ourselves. If a people ever needed a second Exodus, we are the people. 400 years of captivity, enslavement, Jim Crow, redlining, called a byword, shot in the streets, no justice. If anybody need a second Exodus, can you take any more? I can't take any more. No clean food, no clean water. They want you to eat Z-bugs. Can't breathe clean air because they got chemtrails in the air. When does it stop? Y'all think we crazy? You don't see them chemtrails in the air? You don't see the increase of cancer and diseases and sicknesses and all that stuff? Guess what? In Western nations, specifically Babylon. All coincidence? You think you eating organic, and guess what? You're not. Maybe you're not. You don't know. You got to be careful. You do the best you can. They're trying to take the meat out of your mouth. I don't know if you should be eating it based upon how they kill it and what they put in it. So they replace your meat with dookie meat. You know what I'm saying? They're actually making meat from dookie. You know what I'm saying? It's bad enough you were going to eat the Z-bugs, but you're going to eat the Z-poo-poo. I'm just saying. If you're not following up on the news, if you're not following up on science, and you're not following up on the foods issue, because guess what? How many of y'all heard of the plant that had all the chickens and they got burnt down, and all of the other stuff that got burnt down, and all of the train derailments and all of this stuff? I'm just saying, I'm like, y'all gonna buy that all of that's accidents. And then everybody you turn to, somebody got some kind of new sickness. Don't you remember just a few years ago, it wasn't like that? Now it's like everybody you turn to, somebody got something. Somebody's sick with something. Because you ain't got no clean air. You ain't got no clean food. You ain't got no clean water. And some of y'all like to eat lollipops. But ain't no 400-year prophecy, ain't no second Exodus. Well, guess what? If there's no second Exodus, we're screwed. How you like that? How you like that? If there's no flea doctrine, we screwed. How you like that? If we got to stay in Babylon, we're screwed. How you like that? If we got to stay here and eat their food, eat and drink their water, and breathe their air, we're screwed. But I believe the word. Oh yeah, I believe the word. I believe every jot, every tittle. I believe we're leaving. I believe we're going to flee so that these plagues don't fall on us. And at some point in time, we're going back to the continent. Now, all you people who believe America is where we're from, you stay right here. You think we Native American Indians? You can stay right here. I'm good. I'm out. I'll take that next boat out. I'll take that next plane out. When the Most High say so, I'm not moving before. I'm not moving before. Don't get it twisted. But we all going to know when it's time to go. Ain't going to be no ifs, ands, and buts when you ain't got no electricity. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts when you ain't got no water. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts when you can't flush the toilet. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts when you can't go to the store and get some meat and some veggies and everything. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts when it's time to go. Come on now, y'all know I'm right. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts. Some of y'all gonna be gone soon as that light don't come back on. I'll probably be one of them. I'd probably be like, hey, I'm out. Because we so used to electricity. We don't know what to do without electricity, let alone think about all the stuff you can't do. You can't go nowhere. You can't drive. You ain't going to be able to get no gas. If you got an electric car, you ain't going to be able to power up. You ain't got no gas, so you can't drive nowhere. It ain't going to be nice. And let's not forget, Israel. When them lights go out and you ain't got no food and you ain't got no water and you got to stop at checkpoints when you go stuff because you're going to be walking. You think the Gentiles are just going to sit there and leave the Negroes alone? You think the Gentiles just going to sit there and say, oh, well, they're over there by themselves? No, they're going to say, let's go take what they got. Because we got all the guns. We got all the bullets. Let's go take some of their food, the little they got left. Let's go take some of their water, the little they got left. And let's not forget about all of the other Israelites who don't know they're Israelites, who are criminals. And some of them ain't criminals yet, but will become criminals coming to take your stuff. Good luck staying here. Tell me there's no flea doctrine then. Tell me when all of the electricity goes out because of some cyber event, you ain't gonna leave. I'm just saying. I ain't gotta warn you no more because you know why? I think we're gonna find out real soon. I think I don't see how I can continue personally. We're going to find out real soon if there's a 400-year prophecy. We're about to find out real soon if there's a second Exodus. We're about to find out real soon if Israelites going to be fleeing out of Babylon or America. I'm just saying. Like I say, sit back. Because according to these sheriffs, we're already in a major cyber event. And we already have to be taking precautions. And they're already talking about protecting their locality. They're talking about protecting their locality. They're not talking about, hey, let's protect the United States. No, they're going to protect their locality. Now, guess what? Who runs the police department? Who runs the sheriff's office? They already don't look after you. They're already not looking after you. What you think gonna happen when they come knock on your door? and say, we hear you got some illegal contraband and come and take your food that you got and your water that you got. You know it's going to happen. And you know Israel don't stick together. See, them Gentiles, they stick together. They're going to have raiding parties. Israelites going to be stuck there waiting for the police and for the government to help them, and ain't no help gonna come. You're going to be calling out to the Most High. You're going to say, you know what? Terrell Ministries wasn't crazy after all. Jacob wasn't crazy after all. Maybe he knew something. Maybe he was right. Maybe he did understand them prophecies. Maybe there was a second Exodus. Maybe we should flee. It's in the Bible. I told you I believe the Bible. There's a lot more stuff we could talk about and a lot more stuff out there, but you know, hey, I don't have to talk about it. You got the warning. You hear what they're saying. The Gentiles get it. They see it. They know what's happening. But guess what? They already been planning for years. They already been getting their prepper bags, and they got their gold and they have their silver and they have their filtration systems and they have their little bug out bags and they have their bug out locations. Oh, the Gentiles been preparing for years. Black folks ain't had no money to buy some gold and some silver and a bug out location. Black folks ain't had no money to buy a whole bunch of dry goods and foods. Black folks trying to live day to day and pay their bills and their rent. Black folks ain't got that extra. They're going to run for the hills. And black folks going to be fighting black folks. You know it. The hood's going to come knock on your door and take your stuff. You know it. Bam, 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 bam. You know it. Pew, 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 pew. You know it. And then probably at some point, Israelites going to finally wake up and call out to the Most High. He going to say, here I am. Y'all ready to leave now? Y'all ready to go now? Pack your bags. We out of here. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. If you like what we do, support us. Become a patron. You can give Cash App. You also could go to giftgivingforall.com to get a mug, t-shirts. Share this video. Give it a like. My biggest thing is I hope we all make it out of here. I'm not trying to be doom and gloom. I'm just saying that's how dire it appears to me. That's how dire it is, and it's not just the cyber event. It's not just the potential collapse of the grid. It's what they're doing to us through our air and our food and our water and everything else. What I'm seeing in terms of, I mean, I can't imagine how people can't see that we're targets and under attack. I've met people younger than me fighting cancer. People in their 30s fighting cancer. And people who didn't even take the lollipop. What's going on? I ain't never met people like that when I was in my 20s and 30s. But people act like ain't nothing happening. People taking medicines for mental issues. People taking medicines for many other issues. What's changed? The devil has taken over the world. You don't know it. You don't sense it. Maybe a little comfort will come when they lie to you and tell you there's no 400-year prophecy. Maybe a little comfort will come to you when they tell you there's no second Exodus. Maybe a little comfort will come to you when they tell you there's no flea doctrine. Maybe a little comfort of lies will keep your mind from going crazy as the world burns around you. as you're in the midst of a burning house. Martin Luther said he integrated us into a burning house. Yes, he did. He didn't know. And now the house is burning. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Just watch. You better watch. So if you like what we do, please support us. $TOTW7111. Become a patron. And also support the Dry Bones Project.